many times as a journal cuttings I have shown in the in some of other presentations also, but this is true. The substitution of crude drug, which is a burning problem not only for homeopathy, for all the herbal industry, including Ayurveda or phytomedicine, phytopharmaceuticals, all the herbal industry. It is a very big problem for us, and which has been time and again highlighted with different experts, stalwarts, journals. So how do we overcome such problems? Yes, I mean, using technologies, as you know, I mean, we have different technologies to do that. Here I am giving some of the herbs which we are using as a raw material, such kind of problems we have been facing, and so we know that so that we would get the right quality medicine at the end as a final end product. That, and then India HPI, Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of India, which gives us some directions also. Yes, and that is very useful to us. Then apart from HPI, yes, we have HPUS, we have German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia GHP, which is called as HAB there, and homeopathy, in which GHP, German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, has been of the sections. It is written there that please refer European Pharmacopoeia section this and this, something like that. So that has been completely transferred to European Pharmacopoeia, and over a period of time they are planning to merge all different pharmacopoeias of the countries. For example, French Pharmacopoeia is there, French Pharmacopoeia, French Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, I mean Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia part of French Pharmacopoeia. Then in Germany there are two pharmacopoeias, German Pharmacopoeia, which is for allopathy, and then German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, which is called as Homeopathic Arzneibuch, which is Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia. They call in short as German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, HAB. And we have, I mean, there are some differences also between the pharmacopoeias, HPI and German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia. That also I'll show some of the differences what we have. And then apart from that, we have in India, there is a national framework, which is NMPB, National Medicinal Plants Board, which has a good field cultivation practices, and that also gives us some guidance. And then we have international guidelines also, starting with WHO, then European Medicine Agency and US FDA, and also there is a monograph guideline by European Medicines Agency specifically for homeopathy, apart from the herbal guidelines. So they also give us some idea about the collection, selection and preservation of the drugs. Generally, the general rule of procurement of drug is fresh material. Wherever possible, you collect the fresh materials, but homeopathy, having so many drugs from other parts of the country, other parts of the world, it is very difficult for us to procure fresh material. So most of the drugs which we have been importing into India, they are prepared from the dry herbs. It is because in most of the drugs it has been arterial and prepared from the dry material. We do as a multinational organization having our headquarters in Germany. In Germany, we have a big cultivation plant, which is considered as the most diverse cultivation plant in Europe. I mean, they cultivate different plants, which are even they have made climate chambers to cultivate herbs which are of tropical region. I mean, the ones which are available in India, they grow there also, which is normally cannot be cultivated there. They create such kind of climate, and they have vendors in UK, there are vendors in North America. So through them we import. There is one particular herb which we follow a specific and you prepare from the fresh one. There is a difference, and so what we do, we have arranged an agency who procure phytolacca berries, not fully totally, but something 40%, 30% ethanol. And then the transportation has been done from North America to India. So during the transportation, there are so many challenges, because when you have alcohol in a product, it is considered as a DG, dangerous goods. There is separate guideline for dangerous goods by WHO and other authorities. We have to follow that, and it involves so many screenings, so many precautions, and also the transportation should be in such a way in only certain vessels where passengers are not there. Or Abroma radix, it has to be, radix is root, you all know that, and it is from the Abroma augusta plant. It is a kind of shrub, and we want only the root. But most of the time, when we get the raw material, when our botanist goes and inspect, 70% there is a stem which is above the ground. I mean, the root is only 30%, and along with the root, what they do, they cut it above, I mean 2-3 feet above the ground level, and they send it as a root. Because getting Abroma radix, it takes at least 2 years. You have to cultivate. But in case of Abroma augusta, you have only the leaves, and you can just anytime you can prune it and you can collect it and you can send it. But Abroma radix, you have to completely take out the plant, and there is a loss also for them. So they will charge for the complete tree, for complete life cycle of the plant. Despite we are ready to pay that, but they do all those things. Then what we did, we started making a contract agriculture, contract cultivation, and we told them that okay, you are assured, take advance, you cultivate it, and 2 years down the line you give us 200 kg or 1 ton of Abroma radix. Then it is under our monitoring. Our quality assurance department will visit often along with the purchase department, and they make sure starting from the seeding till the cultivation and harvestation. And in that way, we have to be more cautious, and we have to implement such strategies to avoid adulteration. One adulteration is the substitution, as I have shown here. Another adulteration is the same plant, but you have different part. That is another problem. And your correct part of the plant, as I said, it is very important. And timing of collection is very important. Even though in HPA it is very less mentioned in most of the places, in HAB, in German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, it gives a very clear definition. I'll show you a file which gives a very clear definition that when it has to be harvested, during the flowering season or during flowering blossom season, or after starting the cultivation, this much, after this much period, after 2 years, after 1 year, something like that. So that is time of collection is very crucial, very important for us. And collect during the sunny, dry weather whenever possible, to avoid many times what happens when the raw material, especially the fresh raw materials, it reach our place, the complete package is developed with the fungus, right? So when we check it, it is completely, it is with fungus, then we have to discard that. So to avoid that, it has to be during the sunny and dry weather, and then the contamination of dust, moisture, mold, insect to be avoided. And this is well known, I mean, starting with the macroscopic, microscopic, TR, HPTLC, UV. With these techniques, we finalize and we ensure that the raw material which we collect, that is correct. And if you want anything particular on this, then we can a little bit I can elaborate. Yeah, fingerprinting, HPTLC, I think chromatography, basic chromatography is very simple, you know that, right? And you have to, it can be paper chromatography also. The basic mechanism is you put a drug material, and due to the velocity of the drug material or the phytoconstant, it moves upwards along with the mobile phase, along with the solvent, whatever you are sending. HPTLC is almost the same, only thing is the equipments are of high quality. I mean, it is high performance thin layer chromatography. This is also thin layer chromatography. There is another one, HPLC. HPLC is helpful mostly for isolated compound. For example, if I am checking the reserpine, only I have the reserpine compound and I wanted to see whether the reserpine is pure or not, then I can check it. That for that it is HPLC. HPLC is the same fingerprinting thin layer chromatography, but only thing is it is almost automated system. Starting from the sampling and running the mobile phase, everything is almost automatic system. And then once it is complete, then you can take the plate and keep in the chamber with the derivatization, and it will take the picture also with different UV wavelength. And yes, it is a kind of yes, you can say not UV spectroscopy. The light, you can no ultraviolet rays. You can, there is a when you have the plate, HPTLC plate or TLC plate, you would check the bands in UV light, under the UV light, right? So the same thing, but in a separate chamber with camera and everything.
So whatever results we have got with TLC, we will check it with under UV lights.
Yes, under UV lights. Not only UV part, apart from that, even starting with it is a complete system, compound system. For example, in case of TLC, you do everything separately. You have the plate separately, and you have, even with a spiller or even with the syringe, you can put the spottings. But here, everything is integrated into one, integrated into one system, including multiple equipments, and partially manual, not fully automatic, partially automatic, partially manual, but the final result what you would be getting is very accurate. That's it. And even the report generated also is automatically it will check the wavelength and everything, or it will give you the complete results. That is the difference between the TLC and HPTLC. Yeah. Then these are the differences. For example, Avina sativa. Avina sativa in GHP, German homeopathic pharmacopoeia, is fresh overground parts, but in case of HPA it is seeds. Yeah, and definitely both would have different phytoconstituents, both would have different efficacy results in the patients. And we had prepared a complete document and submitted to the government also, PCIMH. Before it was HPL, now it is integrated into PCIMH, Pharmacopoeia Commission for Indian Medicine and Homeopathy, stating that all the homeopathic literature, especially the authoritative homeopathic literatures, mention about the leaves or the overground parts, whole plant or leaves, but unfortunately we don't know why seeds have been included in HPI, and we have been telling to the government to change it. Even there was one notification something around 15 years back, 15-20 years back, a letter from the HPL, but it is not yet implemented in the pharmacopoeia. There is no revised monograph changing the part used. And in case of Berberis acufolium, dry bark of twigs and branches, dry top of twigs are used, but in case of HPA it is root. Carica papaya, in Ayurveda also leaves are used, and but in homeopathy we use fruits. Yeah, so whatever the results we get from using Carica papaya extract in case of dengue or increasing the platelet count, thrombocytopenia, so they are not fully applicable for our homeopathic mother tincture. Many times we come across that Carica papaya has been proven to treat dengue or proven to increase the platelet count, right? So there are researches, but majority of those extracts were prepared from the leaves, and our mother tincture is prepared from fruit. So that's why we cannot compare both, but still there are certain the main phytoconstituents are common in both, and also fruit also would be helpful up to some extent, but we cannot say that both are same. रिजल्ट्स में डिफरेंट तो आना चाहिए मेरे ख्याल से.
far expensive.
बिल्कुल
So in India,
बिल्कुल.
they put it to HPI in general. They are like
Yes. In German, this is GHP, German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia.
producing differently.
No. We have to go by HPI only. We can prepare GHP also, but we have to declare that. Karika papaya GHP.
Yeah, that I understood. I was asking specifically whether Flavia is based.
No, we prepare based on this only, HPI only. Yeah. Sorry. HPI that I don't know from where they have taken, unripe fruit. Yeah. And then Chelidonian majors, I think it is from this, I think CCRH has published a proving of Karika papaya, what I vaguely remember, maybe based on that. They must have prepared from ripe fruit, unripe fruit. Yeah. And same is true with Chelidonian majors, fresh rhizome with adherent roots, and here it is whole plant. And Cheonanthus virginica, fresh bark of the root with adherent root. Here it is bark, only bark. Here it is bark of root. And in case of Asoka, GHP allows dried leaves, but in case of ours it is bark. And in case of Vergasum, it is altogether different. The species itself is completely different. This is Verbascum densiflorum, it is Verbascum thapsus. So these differences are there in pharmacopoeias, and there are some projects by different organizations like LMHI, even CCRH during Dr. Manchanda's time. They have initiated harmonization of homeopathic pharmacopoeias, and we try to reduce the differences and we try to make more common. And also international homeopathic pharmacopoeia was also discussed, but nothing as of now is taken off or moving forward in a fruitful or speedy direction. Whole plant means entire plant including roots, that I think you all know that. If root needs to be excluded, then it is written as whole plant excluding roots, and it should be collected when partly in flower, partly in bud in case of flowering plants. Otherwise, if it is a non-flowering plants, then it is okay, you can collect at any time, and preferably during the sunny weather. And in case of leaves, collect just before or during early flowering. That is much more valuable, or more it would give good results. And in case of biennial plants, best leaves appear in spring of second year. In spring of second year, for example, Abroma radix, even though we take root, we take it in the second year only. And I'll show you another file also which has a second year also. Collect as soon as the flowering stem begins to shoot. Blossom must be collected in dry weather. Stems should be collected only after full development of leaves, and not at the early stage. Seeds and fruits to be collected when fully ripe, except if it is mentioned so. For example, Karika papaya, they have written clearly that unripe fruit. And young shoots to be collected in spring when the plant is in full vigor. And in case of bark, if it is resinous trees, collect in early spring. The time of leaf and blossom development is more during the spring season. And in case of non-resinous bark, collect during the late autumn from the young vigorous trees. And in case of roots, in case of biennial, collect during the spring. If it is annual, then collect in the early autumn. Then if it is perennial, collect second or third year before the woody fiber develops. And roots must be cleaned with minimal water and free from mold or wood appearance. And before going to the preservation, I would show German Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia, and the pink ones are HPI, Homeopathic Pharmacopoeia of India. here you can see that in most of the, yeah, I'll just increase it. Hope it is better visible, right? Here in GHP, in most of the cases, we can see that fresh, and in case of these are acids, the fresh whole plant, fresh underground parts, fresh overground parts, fresh ripe. In most of the cases they use fresh. Only in rare cases, in case of Ammi in case of Andrographis paniculata, they use dried one. And Andrographis paniculata also is an Indian drug. Maybe because of the reason that they may not be, I'm not very sure whether it can be cultivated in their condition or not. Maybe that could be a reason that they must be importing from India. So they are using the dried ones because fresh one is not possible there. And most of the cases it is fresh, except in some cases. And if we look at digitalis is harvested only in the second year, and HP also says same thing, leaves of the second year's growth. And same is true with few more. Yes, Hyoscyamus also. Hyoscyamus, they are okay with anything, but HPI for HPI it needs to be during the second year. Yes, these two are different. I'll share this plan here. Actually we made a comparison stating that whether both pharmacopoeias are the same plant. If they are same, then whether the same part used. Right, same part used. I think this would be useful to you. I'll share this these files with you. Right. And general preservation of medicinal plants is in case of fresh materials, they must be processed immediately to prevent the deterioration, and if collected far from laboratory, then it has to be packed carefully during the transportation. And especially, I mean, in case of special cases, as I said, Phytolacca berry, we have to have some special methods to transport properly. And they have to be, in case of dried plants, they have to be tied in loose bundles, and they have to be hung in shade away from direct sunlight, rain or dust, and they should be protected from mold and insect attack. And storage and preservation, we should have in case of odorous substances, we should have separate containers. Many times what happens in herbs, we haven't faced such problems because we have separate containers for each and every herb. In case of mother tinctures, something around 15-20 years back, we got a complaint from a end consumer that I have been using Avena sativa for the last 2 years, 3 years, whatever. But this time in this particular batch, I am getting garlic smell. Then we investigated the raw material production process, everything. Then we found that I mean, in one line Avena sativa was being filled, on the other line Allium sativa was being filled. So because of that, such odorous substances have such kind of things. So then we made an SOP, and we have identified some herbs, Allium sativum, Asafoetida, and few more, I think 15-20 substances, to be whenever they are manufactured, that should be separate. I mean, a separate line. That time no adjacent line should be run, should be used for the filling. And once it is complete, then QA person, quality assurance person, will ensure that okay, there is no smell. After that also there are air exchanges. We have AHO. I think those who have visited Shabe, you know that, I mean, air exchanges happen. So it has to be I mean, after 2 or 3 exchanges, we have defined that also, how many air exchanges. After that only, then the next batch of any drug will start. And prevent transfer of strong smell to other drugs, as I said now, and use clean, dry, labeled vessels. So here I have made a comparison of a legal and regulatory framework of national and international guidelines. You all know that HPA is specific for homeopathy, and I also mentioned about NMPB, and there are international guidelines like WHO, EMA and US FDA. And the scope, as you know that HPA scope is only limited to homeopathy, yes, we all know that, and NMPB is limited to Ayush systems. International is broad, especially the WHO guideline has broad herbal drugs, herbal medicinal products, botanical drugs, and also homeopathic pharmaco. EU also covers homeopathic monographs as well. And the focus is mainly on, in case of HPA, collection, selection, preservation of medicine for the medicinal power. The objective of HPA is to get the right raw material, which is close to the proving, so that the same results you would get when you apply in a patient, when you find the simillimum. That is what the objective of HPA. But in case of NMPB, it is mostly about the national interest, sustainability, community benefit, and also in terms of quality, traceability. If something goes wrong, then if there is a the objective of NMPB is, if I take a medicine of Himalaya and I find some problem, for example leaf 52, whatever the herbal medicine, and it contains, for example, Andrographis paniculata, then you should be able to trace that the Andrographis paniculata extract used in that particular medicine was cultivated where, when, all those details, and when it was harvested, all those. That is what the traceability means. In India, even all over the world also, it is not still that much easier to follow, but yes, wherever there is controlled cultivation, for example like Schwabe group, not only the homeopathic part, I am talking about other part. Schwabe now today, even though it started with homeopathy, today it has majorly 3 verticals. Apart from homeopathy, they have phytopharmaceuticals, phytomedicine it is called, and also nutraceutical, herbal supplements and nutraceutical. So there they have, for example, there is a flagship product called EGB 761. It is ginkgo biloba extract. I mean, developing from the seed, cultivation, processing, and final tablet, everything is under the control of Schwabe. And if you take one batch of that particular product in ginkgo biloba tablet, Tabokan, then you can find out where it is cultivated, and they have the cultivation plant in China, in South Africa, in South America, in North America, in some parts of Europe also, in all those places. So completely starting from the seed development until the finished product is within their control. So that homeopath, I'll tell the manufacturing, it's mother tincture. We were having potencies, but he suggested we make mother tincture. It is good for, I think, breast cancer. And we tried, and we actually, for starting a new product, it is for Schwabe, as per our process, it is a complete development process, and we have to develop protocols for that. First of all, we have to manufactured by any of Schwabe group of companies in Germany or anywhere else, then we can easily do technology transfer. If it is completely new, then we have to develop that. And then, because you have to be sure that whether you are preparing from Asclepias tuberosa or something else, right? So that process, then everything we did, and then finally the minimum requirement is I think about something 50 kg of herb or something like that. We procured 50 kg of herb also, and then finally after 5 years we have a maximum of 5 years expiry for the herbs also. After 5 years only 10% was utilized, rest we had to throw away, discard that. And now then finally, even if I see the mother tinctures were also something 50-60 liters were lying as it is. So everything needs to be thrown away. So such kind of challenges we face. I mean, for developing a product, even if you, it is very easy to think that okay, अच्छा ठीक है, बस हेल्प तो है मेरे पास थोड़ा, आप बना के मुझे 1 लीटर 2 लीटर दे दो या 100 ml 200 ml दो, it is very easy. But as a as a product development and launching, that is altogether a different procedure, and if you follow all the GMP standards, and it is very tedious in small scale. If it is large scale, then there is no problem. And the collection, the timing rule when it is flowering, budding, all those stuff, and the NMPB and international standards, they all majorly focus on regeneration. Avoiding over harvesting is another plus point of NMPB, because many times people over harvest, they it is nowhere it is used, so that should be prevented, protected. And international pharmacopoeia, international guidelines are mostly they are focusing on the biodiversity and also on the quality of the product. And documentation, in as per HPI, there is no clear cut very clear guideline. It has to be, yes, it is required, but they haven't given but in case of NMPB also up to some extent it gives, but international, there is a guideline called as 21 CFR. And it differs from case to case. In case of HPI, it is shade drying, odor separation, immediate processing, as we have seen in some cases, and also it adds controlled drying, packaging. FIFO means first in, first out. For example, I have Azadirachta indica. I have 50 kgs with me, and for the next 6 months I need 300 kgs. Okay, then I order, there is a 300 kg herb has come. So I should first utilize that 50 kg which is lying, which has come first. Then I have to go for the next one. That is FIFO, first in, first out. But now the in herbal industry, I mean especially the standardized extract industry, the concept is changing. What they do, even in case of that ginkgo biloba extract which I said, they mix 3 different batches and we prepare from that. That too, 3 different batches from 3 different localities. One is cultivated in South America, another one is cultivated in Europe, like that. Another one is in Asia. They mix together and they prepare a batch. Benefit is, I mean, there are the end result is there will be too much of variation in the phytoconstituents. To avoid that, yeah, I'll
There is some specific term for this method.
sorry.
This is a specific term for this method, no? Mixing, taking batches and mixing, then dividing them, something.
I didn't come across any terminology, but I'll try to find out if such terminology is used. Yeah. I'll show. Yes, here ginkgo biloba contains a glycoside called flavon glycoside, and in one batch of raw material leaf it has 1.2% of flavon glycoside, and in another one, if you see here, it is something around 0.5. This much variation is there, and but the final product 226 only, it is between that. And here, even in other cases where it is in less percentage, less quantity, there, I mean, you can see here it is flat, but here on the other side, these things, ginkgolites, if you take here, you can see how much ups and downs are there, but here it is flat. So it is the level in the leaf it is a level in the final finished product. What they do during the extraction process, they level them up by doing different steps of extraction process. And if you don't mix in that way different batches, then this variation would be even huge. Then the extraction process would become more complex. So that's why they mix together and they take it. And if you look at the unique features, HP includes no sort, SAR code, imponderabilia, which are only in homeopathy, and NMPP focuses mostly on the legal complaints, and EMA focuses on the indoor cultivation. Animal substances, the majorly use Blata orientalis also and Cantharis also, and like I says, I mean those hands are my hands only, and its SOP involves that during the production process they will have to prevent attack from the honeybees, and it has to be from the live bees, and it is a very tedious task. We procure from somewhere in Uttarakhand. We have the supply chain for harvesting Apis mellifica, and when it comes to animal sources, even the plant sources also, National Biodiversity Act also comes into play. We have to comply that also. There are some norms we have to fulfill, follow, and Apis mellifica has been harvested. There are some specific, the people, I mean they are habitually, they do that. They would harvest and send to us in a live condition only, and then actually in case of some other mother tinctures, it can be the plan of manufacturing can be done at any time. But in case of Apis mellifica, end-to-end coordination is required. You have to place order and you have to fix the date for the harvesting and transportation. Then accordingly, immediately it reaches our place, we have to start the production of Apis mellifica. And another point here is in the production, Apis mellifica is not like other mother tincture. You just do the maceration or percolation, you prepare. You have to first put it in the alcohol in the macerating jar, and you have to shake it vigorously so that the bees would come and sting on the walls of the jar. That would lead to emanating those enzymes from its mouth. So that is actually the active ingredient for the Apis mellifica mother tincture. And once that is done vigorously for 15-20 minutes or so. Then after that, then the maceration process would start. And in case of Blata orientalis and Cantharis is now we stopped Cantharis because the Cantharis fly, the flies, so-called Spanish fly available in India is not actually Spanish fly. We don't get the exact Spanish fly in India, so we stopped manufacturing here. But Cantharis from Germany, Schwabe, Germany is still coming as a mother tincture, but getting Cantharis fly from outside is a very tedious job. I mean, you have to get the approval multiple times. We tried to get the approval from the National Biodiversity Agency, but we couldn't get that. They said that it is not allowed, and but still we are trying to find out a way stating that that we have all the approvals and it is required, it is used for homeopathy, all those stuff. If we would get it and if we succeed, then we would start manufacturing in India also. And SAR codes, I mean including SAR codes are majorly either the glands or the hormones, and here you have to have a veterinary certificate for the raw material which we have been using, and this is one of the veterinary certificates we procured for I think it is hypothalamus, and name is there, it is hypothalamus, and majorly we, even though these sarcode raw materials can be collected from India. Denmark has a good system for these products. For example, even though Amul is Asia's largest milk producer, dairy producer, we still depend for lactose from Holland, right? Holland lactose are being used because their industry, lactose industry, has become bigger, and their cost of manufacturing is very less. In the same way, and also they have a standard proper process for that. In the same way, Denmark is majorly, I mean, we can get the sarcode materials from them, from Denmark, which is very easy because we have a proper process for that. I mean, once they harvest, then the harvesting also is done in front of the veterinarian. Veterinarian would go and certify that okay, this animal is in good healthy condition, and they do the tests also. Once it is once he is satisfied, then the particular part used is harvested, then the manufacturing process starts, and with that the veterinary certificate is also provided, and we finally get those sarcode materials in powdered form, which is very easy for the manufacturing also, and which is stable for a longer period also. And nosodes, the challenge in nosode is preparation of nosodes in a small normal laboratory is, I mean, no, certain nosodes, I mean, the highly infectious nosodes are a bit difficult. So what we do, we have our central lab in Germany has got all the facilities, and they have tie up with other institute also. So we prepare all the nosodes there. And second thing is, unlike thyroidinum which is used in 3x, pituitrinum which is used in low potency 3x, 4x, nosodes are used in higher potencies only. So you get the back potencies, you can prepare. We prepare from that, but still I am just showing here the general rule. In N1 and N2 need to be done in 10,000 RPM, and sterility test is mandatory as per the Indian Pharmacopoeia standards, and it has to be preserved in 4 to 6 degree centigrades, and no chemical or antiseptics at any stage to be used, and it cannot be prescribed below 6x potency. Ophidia group, as you suggested, venom is carefully milked from the live healthy snakes. Again we get all the Ophidia groups from Germany, traditionally collected on glass plates or in sterile containers. They must follow ethical handling and safety protocols of that particular country or global standards, and use only venom from a healthy specimen which is free from infection or disease. A correct species is also to be identified, that is very critical, and the venoms to be fresh. It has to be mixed immediately with the glycerin or alcohol to prevent putrefaction. It has to be stored in sterile, tightly sealed vials. Further potentization is done by trituration or dilution with the succussion, and we have to preserve the mother tincture and the lower potencies in 4 to 6 degrees centigrade. And let me show you here I'll try to make it full screen. We get I'm trying to special supplier for these rare drugs, rare homeopathic drugs like Ophidia group and other things called Albert Stephen. Albert Stephen, which is, there is a company called Stephen, because the standards are already there, already fixed, and it can be, you have to give the COA, or you can just go to their website and get the COA, and you can just once again you have to repeat the test in your laboratory. And we have listed out, we have shortlisted, and we have, as part of our SOP, we have we rely on their COA also with the skip method. I mean, if it is a well-known manufacturer, then we don't do testing, because some testings are much time consuming and resource consuming, costlier also. So for example, if it is from Merck, then we don't do test on every batch, and based on we have a risk analysis criteria. Based on that, we would do a random sampling, random testing of those raw materials. And yes, here the problem is toxic compounds. Yes.
I have one question.
Yes sir.
Leakage is found in the South Africa.
हाँ, किसका घर पे क्या लड़ाई हुई थी, आके तुरंत साइनाइड उठा के अगर पी लिया तो then there is a problem. Able to, they can access that. But in case of this, at least a senior manager should be there who would supervise and who would approve the quantity. For example, if there is a today there is a requirement of 1 gram, then they would measure and they would sign clearly, and the remaining quantity also would be measured and logged, and the key also would be kept separately in other department, I mean in the admin department, administration department. Imponderabilia is another interesting topic. Here there is no much role of we have a MOU with the roof, where there is no tree. When you have, I mean, I think that is the middle of the year, when the sun and moon would be in the middle, otherwise it would be either north or south. So you would get, one is close to equator, that also would ensure that you have the perpendicular rays. Another one is the time of the year. During July, I think July 22nd or something, 21st, 22nd is the middle of the year, and the sun is in the middle, right? Yeah. So you would have more perpendicular rays, and you have to export, either we use lactose, you can use purified water also, or you can use alcohol also, and you have to make, if it is either water or if it is fluid, then not a problem, you can just pour it, as all the physicists, chemists, everyone is facing, right? And you can ensure only in case of imponderabilia, and also in the high dilutions, ultra high dilutions, you can ensure only the process. Not, you cannot standardize, or you cannot do a quality control test in case of these substances. Yes. So you have to double sure that you have followed the methods properly, and you can only make sure that whether it is correct or not in the clinical results. That's
to
it.
make people believe that this has the medicinal purpose, clinical result only with.
Yeah, only result. Now it is how we are doing. Even nobody is ready to. I mean, there are people, people who doubt homeopathy. They don't believe homeopathy. So that is true with these drugs also.
Only
Yeah. Yes, imponderabilia has that same challenge of the ultra high dilutions, and the exposure should be done in the midnight from 11:45 to 12:15, and in case of sol, it should be in the mid of the day from 11:45 a.m. to 12:15 p.m. and the stirring should be done regularly. And apart from that, there are good warehouse and storage practices for finished goods of homeopathic products. Like in case of dilution, they have to be tightly closed. So far we have discussed about the raw materials, and this is for the finished product. And the major problem which we are facing in dilutions are I mean, due to their alcohol content, 90% alcohol content. I mean, there are photographs, people used to complain to us that the complete bottle is empty and the bottle is sealed. That problem also is there. I mean, it is a universal problem. It is not Schwabe, not XYZ company. It is a universal challenge for the complete homeopathic industry. That most of the time it happens. I mean, even for during the summer season mostly, and in India also it happens more often than the European countries, because I think 6 months they have very good climate at least, and even minus temperatures. And then there are, I mean, what we continuously improve those the preservation or bottling also. With a lot of research, we finally found a combination of three components. I mean, if you see the dilution bottle, it has three components. One is bottle, one is dropper, another one is cap. And the evaporation is more in the 10 ml bottle because the quantity is less. I mean, the outlet rim size is same for all 10 ml, 30 ml or 100 ml, right? So evaporation per minute or evaporation per day is same. For example, 0.1 ml evaporates every day. In 10 ml bottle, same quantity would evaporate from 100 ml or 30 ml. So finally what happens, the ratio after 1 year or after 6 months, if 1 ml is evaporated, in 10 ml it is complete 10% is gone and it is very visible. And in 100 ml, 1 ml is only 1%. So in 10 ml it is more visible, and more complaints we used to get. And the loss also is more, the ratio of loss also is more. So finally we found a combination of one dropper, one bottle from Germany, and a German supplier, a dropper from German supplier but different supplier, and a cap from Indian supplier. This combination made us more protective in case of evaporation. We did multiple combinations. I mean, all materials were procured from Germany, all materials were procured from India also, and different vendors, suppliers. And we made a combination also. I mean, same supplier, all the materials, then supplier A, B, C, these something like that. Then finally we came to a conclusion that that made us made our I mean our quality assurance team sleep peacefully. After that, I mean, we started getting less complaints. We do testing also. There is a leakage test. It is called leakage test. They would put it in the water and see whether leakage is there. There are different methodology in quality assurance. They do that, and finally it has been. But still, there are some. Still, it is not a. You cannot say that it is completely closed. It is a continuous improvement process. Still, there are some evaporation happens in long period. That also we are trying to plug. And in case of mother tincture, most of the time, if it is not properly stored, then the precipitation or sedimentation tend to happen. So it has to be also to be stored in a well stoppered amber bottles, and frequent shaking to be avoided to avoid resuspension, and periodic inspection and filtration in the warehouse is also necessary. And in case of these thyroidinum 3x, Hecla lava, there is one more tablet, and there are 1x tablet, mother tincture tablets. In those tablets, many times we get of pigments or hyperpigmentation kind of spots, all those stuff. It is mostly, it happens because of in the coastal regions. Those complaints are coming from either Kolkata or Kerala or coastal areas of Andhra Pradesh, all those places. It is because of the absorption of the moisture, and the phytoconstituents react with that. So we have changed our packaging. Now we do complete sealing. Completely we seal it with lamination, and then also we follow FIFO. FIFO, sometimes if it is kept for a longer period, then it tends to develop such changes. These things help us to avoid that. And tablets like biochemic and trituration of higher potencies, they do not generally have any problem. They are generally stable only. There is no problem. But still, they are also stored in a dry places. And apart from that, there are general other warehouse rules like clean, dry, pest-free storage area to be there. Segregation of odorous and volatile products are also required. Done. Then the regular inspection for the discoloration, precipitation, contamination also to be done. And then apart from that, there are, I just wanted to put down we don't follow these, but these are the emerging practices in other industries, even not very prevalent, it's not there, and the LCMS as of now it is not future we can think of. And these are some of the preservation techniques for future. Advanced drying techniques, low temperature, vacuum drying, freeze drying, can be how much that would be useful to homeopathy, that we can see. For example, in German homeopathic pharmacopoeia many things are mentioned as fresh material, but here in India we are using dry one. If freeze drying would help us to preserve the same thing and transport to India, then why not? We can have better quality of the products. And protective carriers like natural polysaccharide, coating, lipids, if they can be used for the preservation without affecting the constituents, then that would be helpful. Then the modified atmosphere storage, nitrogen flushing, oxygen moisture barrier sensitive materials, in such cases they can be used, we can explore that. Then next generation packaging like moisture, UV indicators, biodegradable protective layers can be used. Now in many cases we use polythene bags also, so that can be avoided in future. So with this we will move on to the next session. Should we is there a break, ma'am, in between? Okay.
सर आपको कुछ वो व्हाट्सएप करना था पर
हाँ अभी क्या नहीं, ये इसके बाद कर लेते हैं।
आप कर दीजिए तो वो प्रिंट में निकलवा।
हाँ ठीक है ठीक है ओके ठीक है। हाँ वही कर रहा हूँ मैं।
Want to ask anything to sir, you can ask.
तो ट्रेसेबिलिटी का थोड़ा सा एक्सप्लेन करिए।
हाँ जी मैडम, एक सेकेंड, ठीक है भेज दिया, आपको भी फॉरवर्ड कर दो। एक मिनट, आप नंबर बताइएगा। 844-76-29-356। हाँ इस पर वो करना पड़ेगा, यही बेस्ट है। हाँ हाँ भेजेंगे, हाँ वो भी भेज देता हूँ मैं आपको, भी भेज देता हूँ मैं आपको। ऐसे कर देता हूँ, पार्टिसिपेंट्स को क्या क्या भेजना है पूरा एक फोल्डर में है, ये वो पूरा भेज देता हूँ मैं आपको। ड्राइव पे लिंक शेयर कर देता हूँ मैं।